YouTube. Today on the Naughty Librarian, I am doing a historical romance book haul. Historical romance is the one concept in romance that I never really go for, but I have recently read a couple and I was so pleasantly surprised by how much I liked them that I really want to get into the genre more. So these are all of the historical romance books I have picked up. These are all of them I own, and I'm gonna work my way through them. For starters, I have Wicked and the Wallflower by Sarah MacLean. This is part of one of her new series. It's the Bare Knuckle Bastards, and I read this one! Yay! I've actually read one! And I liked it. It was just, it took me a long time to get into because it's everything about like a historical romance that I was not into, like the slow pace, and it was boring for a while. But then I really got into it, and I really liked the heroine, and yeah, I actually ended up liking it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's about this guy who calls himself Devil, and he is the head of the criminal underground of London. There's also Felicity, who is a spinster. She's 27, so in today's day and age, not a spinster. In 1837, total spinster. And he is oh, I'm gonna use you to get back at my brothers, the Duke. And she's like, blah. She's actually cooler than blah, but she doesn't necessarily assume they have bad intentions toward her. But she's really cool. She's smart. She's spunky. She picks locks. I liked her. I also picked up The Duke Buys a Bride by Sophie Jordan, and this is part of the Rogue Files series, and it kind of sounded funny. There's this Duke, he's out partying, he's wasted, he comes across a bride auction, but he doesn't know it's an auction. He thinks, I don't know what he thinks, but there's this girl being auctioned and he buys her. He's like, oh, I've bought her freedom, la la la, I've done a good deed. And then he wakes up in the morning and realizes he bought a wife and he's married now. I don't really know much else about it, but it sounds like an interesting premise. I'm down. I have 2 books by Tessa Dare. First, I have The Duchess Deal, which is part of the Girl Meets Duke series, and I have When a Scot Ties the Knot, which is part of her Castles Ever After series. I have read The Duchess Deal, and oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite books I have read this year. I was so shocked. I was completely blown away that a historical romance was this good. It is one of the funniest books I've ever read. It's so funny, oh my goodness, and sufficiently smutty. And it's weird because it was so funny and clever, and it had that modern day kind of rom-com sensibility where the characters still felt relatable, but a lot of the humor and the jokes would only work in this time period, so it was perfect that it was set in the Regency era. So I don't know, I super recommend Tessa Dare. I want to read all of her books now. That's how much I like this one. Oh my goodness gracious. I have not read When a Scot Ties the Knot, but I got it for 10 cents at a library book sale. 10 cents. Why would I not buy it? This has the best premise. I am so excited to read it. Oh my gosh. Tessa Dare, where have you been all my life? There's this awkward girl, and she's like, oh, I don't know what to do around men. I'm gonna do really bad in marriage season because no one's gonna want me. You know what? Fake boyfriend. I have invented a fake boyfriend, and he's Scottish. He's over there. You haven't met him because he's in Scotland. And then I guess she meets a Scottish guy who's just like, oh, I'm your boyfriend. And comedy of errors ensues. I also have 2 books of the McCarrick Brothers trilogy by Kresley Cole. I believe this is 1 and 3, so I don't have book 2, but eventually I will get it. I found these both at library book sales, so. But it's by Kresley Cole, and I love Kresley Cole. She is one of my favorite authors. She writes the Immortals After Dark series, and I trust her. And these are both Highlanders, and they have sexy times with ladies while wearing kilts. And I mean, easy access, you just gotta lift it up. I also assume there's dukes and vengeance and intrigue and stuff, because that's usually what happens in a Highlander romance, I feel. But I'm excited. I'll read some kilt lifters by Kresley Cole. I trust her. I'll read these. Speaking of kilt lifters, I also got Highlander Most Wanted by Maya Banks. and this is part of her Montgomerys and Armstrongs series. So, yeah, I assume there are people in Scotland who are, getting together. It's about this woman who's being, like, held captive by this abusive lord, and then this, like, Scottish guy, he's like, clan warfare, and then he, like, is gonna kick that lord's butt. So, and then she's there, and she's like, oh, and he's just like, sup. I'm the best synopsizer. Like, you're welcome. Yeah, it's you know, Scottish and old-timey. It's Maya Banks, though, and she gets, like, dirty sometimes, though. So, I don't know how, like, filthy this is gonna get, but it might get filthy. I also have My Fair Lover by Nicole Jordan. He's, like, a brigand, and she's, like, a lady, and she's like, oh, I'll help make you a gentleman if you, like, protect me on this boat while I go this place to get this treasure. And he's like, okay, and then there's sexy results. So it's kind of My Fair Lady, but like in reverse, because she's making over this like brigand into a gentleman, allegedly. I don't know how gentleman-y he's gonna be, because his shirt's already off, so smutty times will happen. I also have The Sins of Lord Lockwood by Meredith Duran. This is like a sexy Count of Monte Cristo. There's a lord, and he's like, I love this girl, I'm gonna marry her, and then something happens, and like, he gets betrayed, and I guess he doesn't marry her, maybe he's arrested, maybe something else, and like, everyone thinks he's dead, but then he comes back, he's like, revenge, and she's like, no, kissing, and he's like, revenge, and she's like, kissing, and he's like, maybe. So, I think that's how that's gonna go. Next, I have His Wicked Reputation by Madeline Hunter. So the little blurb right here is like, he was rumored to be irresistible, ... It's so cheesy. It's about a guy, a lord, and he goes to one of his properties to restore it, and then he meets this Spencer lady, and she's like, oh, I copy famous paintings, and I assume she sells them as the real thing, the little, you know, little trickster. And she's like, I have a pretty sister, la la la, let's marry her off. And then I assume he does not marry the sister. I assume he marries her. Last but not least, I have Prince of Dreams by Lisa Kleypas. This is one of those old romance novels where they look like, oh, it's just like a cute old story. And it's like on the front, there's nothing to like make it seem smutty. So like you would get this and your parents wouldn't think it was smutty because they don't read it first because they just think, oh, it's about castles and princes. Deceptively smutty. However, this one, you only have to do that and you realize it's real smutty. Like the insert page is just like, sup, they're gonna do it. Ooh. I read the blurb on this and like, I still don't really know what this is about. It's about a prince and then like some lady. And some dreams. I still don't understand what this is about, but I like the deceptively smutty cover. Pastels, it's everything. I am actually really excited about reading some of these historical romances because I didn't know I was gonna like them until I tried them. And then, oh my goodness, Tessa Dare is like everything to me right now. I want to read all of her books. I was so blown away by how good that book was. I really recommend The Duchess Deal. Please check it out. Let me know in the comments down below, what are some of your favorite historical romances? Give me recommendations down below because these are literally all of them I own. I don't own any other ones. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!